Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. It is a beautiful day here in Zone 7 in Oklahoma City. Um, it is 88, so it is going to be hotter today, but it is gorgeous right now. But welcome. Thank you all so much for joining. My name is Carrie. My husband Dale and I are the creators of the Park Seeds Seed to Spoon app. We started gardening back like over 10 years ago now and knew absolutely nothing about getting started. And along the way, we were like, I really wish that there was an app for this and it would have helped us so much. And so we were like, well, I mean, might as well just make one. So we ended up developing the Seed to Spoon app that hopefully you know and love today. If you don't, I'm popping a QR code up right there so you guys can scan that. Um, it'll help walk you through of growing over like 150 plants plus. I mean, I'm always adding new ones. And if you guys have any suggestions of new ones you want to add in, let me know and I'll get them in. Um, but yeah, it'll walk you through growing a whole bunch of different things, exact planting dates based on your location, and Growbot, which is one of my favorite things. You can go through and ask questions about what's wrong with my plant or send pictures for like pest identification and plant identification or just a general what's wrong. And then also the visual garden layout too. So many amazing things right there that, I mean, I use the Seed to Spoon app pretty much like every day when I'm out in the garden just to log if I have watered or fertilized, or if I plant something new, I always put it in there. Or if I see a new bug and I want to see what it is, I go through and use it. So if you don't already have it, scan that right there and it will take you to our website with some download links. So welcome. I see a lot of familiar names and faces out there in the chat. Welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. Hi CJ. Hello. I see somebody from everybody. Yeah, it is supposed to be getting like really, really hot. So, oh man, yeah. Heat index warning. Oh no. Yeah, it has begun, right? Well, this is good timing then for you all because we are going to talk all about July and the heat and what you can still plant even in the heat, or also just how to maintain your plants in the heat and all of that. So we're going to talk everything July. But I do want to mention that as you go through, if make sure that you're commenting away, ask any questions that you want, or just let us know like where you're joining from, just join in the chat. And every time you do join in, you get entered in to win our giveaway. We are going to be giving away a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So you can do so many amazing things with the free version of the app, but with premium, it just takes it like above and beyond. So you can do unlimited plants and pests and things like that you can send pictures up to Growbot, and then unlimited plants that you can put in your gardens and all of that. So, and also free shipping on all of your orders through Park Seed. So that is huge. So make sure you stick around to the end. We're going to be doing the giveaway at the end of the live stream. And plus, two, if you are joining us from after the fact, don't worry, we're still going to be doing a giveaway too for those who are joining us later. Later in the sorry, there was music that just came on. Sorry. I think that whoever it was turned it off. That's what we get for summertime, right? You never know what you're gonna get live here with all the kids and all that. Anyways, so if you are joining us after the fact, you still have a chance to win. I do giveaways in the very beginning of the live streams. Sorry. Dale's like over here trying to figure out why the music is turning on. Yeah. Anyways, so I do have a winner from last week's live stream. So last week was a really great one. We went through and like talked a lot about different common issues that you might see in the garden in the summertime. I mean, we talked to all things like blossom end rot, or if your plants are not fruiting, or you're just having other like pest issues. Like we talked all sorts of different issues, and you guys all brought your problems. It was a great live stream. So if you miss it, definitely go back and watch that. I do have a giveaway from the person from last week. So congratulations here to Sonia Hogan. So send me an email here at info@seedtospoon.net, and I will get you all hooked up with your free premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. Congratulations. So all you all need to do to be entered in here, whether you are watching it live or after the fact, is to comment in the chat or the comment section. So welcome. Oh, yep. Looks like you guys are already looking ahead and getting ready here. We have shade cloth going up in 95. Whew. Yes. I definitely don't envy any of you guys. Yes, I'm with you. I love the free shipping for sure. Okay, so let's go in and chat a little bit. I was hoping that Dale was going to make it today, but he unfortunately got pulled away for a meeting. But luckily, he was here to help with the music randomly going off. Okay, I did mention this already. Okay, so first of all, I do want to mention, like, there's definitely still time to be getting some plants out. I mean, and also just depending on where you live, there's still quite a few things that you can still plant based on where you are, and make sure that you just keep your seeds or your starts really well watered. So the things that I really like to do what's called succession planting. So especially for things like the like summer squash, especially, I plant rounds like every couple of weeks or so. I go through and I start seeds for them just to make sure I always have like new plants coming up. I don't get all just one harvest at a time and all of that. So I do like to do succession planting, and I do it all through the year. I don't stop in July. I continue going in July with things like summer squash and bush beans, especially too. Although if it gets like super hot, you may want to switch over to the southern peas or black-eyed peas. That is also a really good option for you if it is really hot. And then I'm planting things like okra still. I just planted some, I mean, it might have been like a week or two ago now, but yeah, definitely still time, especially if you're in the South, for like all of these things to get out. And then I have like basil down here, and there's even, so one of my favorite things to do, because in the summer, I always miss my fresh greens. But I mean, believe it or not, I actually still have some lettuce that's hanging on. I just put a video out yesterday, actually, about it on our social channels, showing our lettuce. And I was like, this lettuce is just still gorgeous. But I'm doing a lot of measures to keep it that way. And like I have it behind like living shade walls I have like a tomato growing vertically on one side, and then I have a loofah growing along the other side. So it kind of gets a lot of shade. So it's a lot cooler in that area than in like just the middle of the garden. So that, and also they were like specific heat varieties from Park Seed, and they did amazing. They're still doing good. But that being said, I know not everybody can get lettuce to grow right now, and that's completely understandable because lettuce likes the cool. But there are things like Malabar spinach and New Zealand spinach, which I've been growing quite a bit this year because I missed my greens so much last year. I was like, I need to grow more New Zealand spinach and more Malabar spinach. And I have a bunch of it growing up right now. So I have a bunch of Malabar spinach growing vertically. And then I have some New Zealand spinach that I've planted like just throughout the gardens places. And I'm still going through and planting it. I actually just planted my last one. So I'm like, oh, I need to go get more seeds because I want more. but it's growing amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. And it is going to be perfect for me because I don't have to miss my greens anymore. So there's definitely still time to do that. And if you are in doubt, you can always check the Seed to Spoon app too, because in here, let me pull it up. In here, you can go down here and you can see this Let's Grow section, and it'll tell you exactly like everything that you can plant right now too. So you can see like I still have a lot of things that I can be planting out. So and this is all like based on your location too. So this is me here in zone 7. So everybody's going to be slightly different because everybody's last frost dates or first frost dates coming up are going to be slightly different. So what the Seed to Spoon app does is it pulls from your closest weather station and then it calculates the dates. So it'll keep it on there as long as you have time to grow it before your last frost. And then in the spring too, it'll add it once it's time to plant it after your spring frost. So it's all related to all that. Let's see. I see a lot of questions here too. Here, let me pop up a few questions. So, Donna, yes, this is a great question. And we are going to be talking about fertilizing here shortly as well. It really depends on the heat that you do have going. But if it is like really, really hot and it's gotten hot fast and you are about to have a heat wave, like I know a lot of people are, I would hold off on fertilizing because that makes it so that way your plant is going to be like stimulated to try to grow. And you really want them just to try to thrive through the heat, just live and survive and push through it. But if it is like gradually easing up, like it's going to be okay. I generally will fertilize every few weeks for like specific things, more like my tomatoes and peppers, like the heavier feeders. But I will like if it is going to be like super super hot, I definitely would hold off. So that's not like a perfect answer, I know, because it's kind of like it depends, but it really does. Like if it's going to be too hot, like I would definitely hold off. Oh, Desiree said it's going to get up to 106 next week where she is. Oh my gosh. Mm. Oh, great question here. So Alyssa was asking, will the shade cloth cause disruptions of the sunlight requirements of the plants? Absolutely not. Um, this will actually help. And I actually even use shade cloth sometimes for plants that require full sun. So things like even tomatoes in like the harshest temperatures. Like if we have a huge heat wave coming in, I will do some shade for tomatoes and things like that too. It will help it. Trust me. If you give it a little bit of break in the afternoon sun. So even things that are full sun can appreciate a little bit of break from the heat of the day. And it's not going to hurt it. As long as you get like at least like morning sun or vice versa, you should be good. But ideally, if you can get like morning sun and get like 6 hours of sun in before the shade cloth hits it, that would be perfect. Yeah, like exactly what Riley says right here. Perfect. Thanks, Riley. It's perfect. Oh, good question here. So, how do you handle seedlings direct sowed in extreme heat? So, can I still sow them in that heat? Okay, so if you are doing transplants at this time, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, it's definitely doable, but it is going to be very difficult. So make sure before you put them off that they out there that they are hardened off really good, that they are used to that temperature and heat before you throw them out in it. And then also, I would make sure that they are staying moist and they like Yeah, and if possible, I don't know if it's normal for you to have 100-degree heat and if it's going to stay that way, or if it's maybe just 100 degrees for a week and then it's dropping. I might see if you could wait like a week and then do it then. Might be better for your seedling. But if it's like 100 degrees and it's going to stay that way for months, I mean, go ahead and give it a try now. But like I said, make sure that it's hardened off. So over the process of at least a week or two, just make sure that it is. Just getting accustomed to the heat and it's not just like thrown out there and after it's been protected during its sheltered life so far. And Donna says she still has some cold crops out there. That's good for you. Should I harvest them even though the head is only 4 inches in diameter, or should I cover it during this hot spell? So, I definitely would not cover it because that will probably make it hotter actually, because you want it to have some sort of air movement. So, I mean, if it were me and it's not in a container, I would probably go ahead and harvest it because it's probably like for me, this lettuce that I have, because we're about to have, I mean, you guys saw on the Seed to Spoon app, you guys saw my little warning that I have up there on the top, and then heat wave predicted. Yeah. So my lettuce might be looking gorgeous right now, but it's probably not going to be staying that way for very long. So I am going to be going out there and probably just harvesting most all of it. Otherwise, it does get bitter tasting and it doesn't taste great whenever it starts to like bolt and go to seed. So like cool season crops and things like that, I would probably go ahead and harvest it now. I'm sorry, unless it isn't a container. That is the beauty of container gardening. You could always bring it inside for a little bit and try to wait out the weather. So that is one thing I do love about planting in things like smart pots. I love doing that. Yes. So arugula is one that can tolerate the heat. So it's here. Let's see if we can pull up arugula and see what it says here. Yeah, so you'll see like it has it right here in pink, which means you can still plant it, but it doesn't love the heat. So usually right here it'll say, yeah. So you can continue to plant it, but it doesn't like temperatures above 90. So it's same like what I was just saying too. It starts to taste bitter once the temperature warms up. So it's best grown in the cool season. But that being said, like it's not like it is one of the more tolerant of the greens too, of the things that you can like get away with growing in the summer. So yeah, it's kind of one of those like that it's kind of like, meh, I wouldn't personally, but you can absolutely give it a try as long as you don't have extreme heat. But like it says in the app, as long as it's under 90, you could try it. But even then, like you're kind of pushing it. Okay, Michelle says she's in zone 6 and having a long heat spell. Which crops need shade cloth? So it kind of just depends too. I would like to see like what all you're growing, but probably like if you have anything that is cooler season, so greens, or like brassicas, things like that, you could try to extend, but most likely they're all going to die off. I would focus more on the things that you want to try to ease through this. And I would even look at like your tomatoes and peppers and things like that. Like pretty much those things, once it hits like 90, 95, it'll stop really producing a whole lot for you. And it'll kind of just go off into just survive mode. But once the temperatures drop back down again, like it'll come back in a flurry. So you don't have to worry about it. But as long as it survives through that, but yeah, generally they will slow down, but you can try and trick it and make sure that the temperatures stay a little bit lower for it and try to trick it into thinking the temperatures are great and I will keep producing for you. Um, so yeah, it really just depends. I mean, you can do like specific things that you care more about, or I mean, your entire garden even technically, but I mean, if you do have things like southern peas, okra, corn, like those things, even summer squash and things like that, they're all good. They're good. Sweet potatoes, they'll all love the heat. But um, yeah, I mean, even like tomatoes and peppers, they do love the heat, but they just won't give you fruit necessarily, like a whole lot of it whenever the temperatures are up. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. Will my seeds germinate in like, yeah, 100 plus degree temperatures? It really depends on what seeds you have growing too, and just making sure that they stay moist during germination. But yes, absolutely. Especially those heat lovers like summer squash and melons and even some of these flowers too. Things like zinnias, sunflowers, marigolds, nasturtium, all of those, there's still time to plant them, and you can still do that now in these temperatures. Um, but like I said, you just need to make sure that they stay moist during germination. But they love the heat; like that is going to help them germinate. So they will do good. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading questions in here. I see a lot of fertilizing questions. I'm going to try and come back because I do have a fertilizing site coming up. I should have put fertilizing first because you guys all have a lot of questions. Oh, here, good question here. So, is this for direct sowing? Yeah, absolutely. You can direct sow like all of these right now. I mean, I am still throwing out zinnia seeds too, and nasturtium. I actually just planted some the other day too. I love growing all of them, and you can for sure throw out seeds right now. Just like I said, keep them moist, and they'll do fine. Okay, so let's talk about some of the trickier parts of growing in July, some of the issues that you might see. And of course, like this is some of the fun ones, right? Oh, maybe not so much. Okay, so this is, yeah. So up there at the very top one, my favorite thing. That is a squash vine borer, and that unfortunately is one of our pictures, but not from this year. Knock on wood. That was last year. Um, we're so far so good. I'm going to continue to knock on wood as I say that. Um, but so the squash vine borer comes from like this, like almost like hornet looking moth that lays its eggs in like the base of your zucchini. And you will notice that pretty much like one day you'll come out and it's just like wilty, like completely wilty and looking really rough. And you're like, what happened? Usually, if you look at the base of the plant, you can kind of see those, you can see a little like mush coming out of the base of your plant. And that's what the squash vine borer is. It kind of like eats your squash plant from the inside out and it kills it. So the best thing to do is prevention. I know we've talked a lot about this before too, but prevention is key. So companion planting is huge, as well as we've done things like wrapping the base of the plant in like aluminum foil, and that's definitely helpful too. Just anything you can do to make them go elsewhere is the key, honestly. Same with squash bugs. I mean, be on the lookout. Like if you, whenever you go out in the garden, be looking on the underside of your leaves because you'll see like those eggs right there. Those are squash bug eggs. So those are ones that you want to make sure you get rid of them. So I go through and I have like a lint brush roller. And if I ever see any of those, I just go through and I just start to brush off the undersides of the leaves and get them off. I mean, even at this stage, I do that same thing too. So this is their little nymphs. Whenever they start to hatch out of those eggs, they are not great. And then the other one over there is the adult, but it's once it hits that age, like you can't spray neem or anything like that. They're like cockroaches. I feel like they just like survive everything. They're so annoying. But at that stage, I tend to like hand pick and do the annoying things like that. But I try to catch them when they're this stage. That is huge this time of year. Like, please, like, I can't stress that enough. Like, whenever you are out there, go look at the other side of your leaves and try to prevent them from getting to the adult stage. Because once they get to the adult stage, it gets a lot harder to control. Um, and then we have, of course, the tomato hornworms, which are super fun too. They are huge. So at least they're kind of a fun one to find because it's kind of like a hide and seek kind of because you're there um, like you're looking at the tomato and it's like trying to spot the damage and you're like going through the tomato like tracing back where are you with how huge because they're like the size of your index finger. But they blend in so well. You guys have recommended in the chat before using a black light. We have a black light up here ready to go to use a black light at night to see if we can find them easier. We haven't had, again, I'm going to knock on wood as I say this, we haven't had many issues with the tomato hornworm yet this year. So we're good with that. But uh, we do a lot of companion planting. So again, I can't stress how important it is to just plant a variety of everything and do your prevention tips and all of that because it will make it like so much easier and better for you. Um, and then cucumber beetles. So it's that yellow looking ladybug right there, which is exactly what my kids thought when they saw it. They were like, "Oh, I just found a yellow ladybug," and I'm like, "No, that's bad." So we went through hunting for the yellow ladybugs, but yeah, those cucumber beetles will spread diseases, especially on things like your cucumbers, of course, but they also can go to things like melons and things like that. So it just these are ones that you want to be on the lookout for too. Haha, yes. I love this, a bug vacuum. I have actually had one of these before. I need to get another one. It broke on us because we had that, oh gosh, like 5 years ago, and that was fun to use. It worked really well. We would use it for spiders inside of the house, and we would like suck it up, and then we would go take it out to the garden and release them. So that's what we used our bug vacuum for back in the day. But it broke on us, and I need to get a new one because that's yeah, that would be super fun to do. I've known people have mentioned that they take out like one of the little handheld vacuums out to the garden too if they're having issues with things like squash bugs. They just have like a little handheld little Dyson walking around in the garden. Hey, it works. You have to be creative sometimes to battle all of these pests, right? I love it. Oh yeah, Riley. That's great. She said I transplanted a basil next to my tomatoes and the hormones just vanished. That's awesome. Yeah, basil is incredible. Basil and marigolds, I mean, and nasturtium. I feel like nasturtium is so underrated too because I put nasturtium everywhere and I get so happy whenever my nasturtium plants start like catching bugs because I'm like, yes, it's doing its job. It's taking all of the bugs from the other plants, and it's going to them. And yeah, it's always amazing. Oh, awesome. Donna says my foil is still working. Fingers crossed. Okay, I have my fingers crossed for you too. Hopefully it'll still work good. Okay, now we have the two W's that you need to make sure that you keep up with. Even though it gets hot out, and I know we all don't want to be out in the garden for very long, but try to go out there in the morning so you can like go through, just make sure everything's okay, no pests and anything like that. But also while you're out there, make sure you're staying on top of the weeding because it is something that can get out of hand real quick, especially if you are doing any like overhead watering or sprinklers or anything like that. The weeds will just flourish in this heat. And it is so important because, gosh, I can't tell you, this happens. I say it a lot, but I'm hoping that this is the year that I will actually take my own advice too, because every single year the weeds do get out of control and it's just there's so much to do, but we are doing a really good job again, I'm going to knock on wood so far this year of keeping up with it. Cause I feel like we're just going out in the garden a lot more too. That's what happened. Cause I have like the kids are getting older too, and they love to go out in the garden with me. So makes it easier for me to go out in the garden and keep up with things when I have them just right there too. Um, Although I will say, be careful if you have toddlers not to pull out weeds in garden beds because they will follow suit and pull out what they think are weeds too. So be careful with that. Show them to pull weeds in the mulch or something around the gardens, not in the garden beds. Yeah, I think yeah, it's never good. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Riley. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah, it happens really fast. That's why I'm like, just try like pull a little bit a day and all of that. Like, yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm absolutely with you. Let's see. Desiree says, with the weeds, can I chop and drop or will that spread more weeds? It really depends on the type of weed that it is. Some of the weeds are ones that need to go to seed in order to spread. So as long as they haven't gone to seed, they're fine. But there's other ones. I mean, things like Bermuda grass, like for us, is a nightmare. But that will create more weeds if we leave in just like a little speck of Bermuda grass somewhere. So it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely something that it just depends on the weeds. Yes, exactly. Be careful not to pull sprouts. Yeah. I trust me, but when I'm with the kids, I'm like, no, you don't need to pull any weeds there. You're good. um, I saw a good question here from Great Martin. So, do you leave the trap crops if they have done their job and attracted the pests? Yeah. Yeah, I leave them because they just continue unless like the plant is just devastated. But most of the time it's only because like especially with nasturtium because they grow huge. For me at least, I like to grow like the big, huge varieties that grow like really long and wide and they just sprawl everywhere. Usually it's only like a section of the plant and I just leave it because like there's so many other sections of the plant that and it's all continuing to do its job. So I keep them there unless they are just completely devastated. Yes, I feel you, Paige. Bermuda grass is always a nightmare for me. Um, Really, the only thing that we found to help is layering like cardboard on top of it and then putting like wood chips on top of that. And I mean, even then, sometimes they come through, but like, oh man, Bermuda grass just it will find a way. But and you have to like go through and get every inch of it too, or else it'll just come right back. Yeah. Let's see. Which variety of nasturtium? So my personal favorite, let's see, I can probably pull it up right here. I mean, I have several different varieties out there, but my favorite is, let's see if I can find it on here. Oh, it's not pulling the varieties. Ah, bummer. Um, it is from Park. Here, I'll pull a link from Park Seed. It is a fragrant giant. I love it. It is the best. Here, I'll pop it into the chat here of the one that I like to grow. That variety of nasturtium is amazing, and it grows just wild. I love it so much. It's amazing, and it works so good. That's my personal favorite. They also have like a smaller, compact one that I've been growing too. And I like that too for smaller areas because I do have like smaller beds that I grow with like tomatoes and things like that. But oh man, I do really love that huge one because it just finds its way like through and around all the other plants, and it covers like all of the ground, and like it's really great. I love it. Uh, Okay, so Jackie says, I planted about 30 nasturtium seeds in our ground garden, but only one grew. Oh no, I'm sorry. Um, I mean, so it's probably, I mean, you said I didn't soak or nick them. I mean, it probably is that, honestly. Nasturtium can be challenging and just because it does have a very tough outer layer. So sometimes even if you do keep it moist, it just takes it a while. But yeah, it's probably the fact that I would just take either a nail file to them or just cut like a little side or soak them for a few hours before you go out and it should help you next time. I'm sorry. But good news is there's still time to plant them though. So if you still have some nasturtium seeds left over, do it. You got it. You got it this time. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. When do you start planning your fall garden and seed starting? So for me, that's going to be, well, I say next month, but I consider now is pretty much July. But for me here in Zone 7, I'm going to be planning, well, I'm going to be getting all of that started like in August timeframe. Um, but now is a good time to start thinking about what seeds you want to grow and getting them ordered and doing all that. So I'll do a video on planning for fall coming up here soon because it is almost that time. Believe it or not, even though it's like the heat of the summer, it's definitely coming soon. Oh, good question. So, how do you know when your lettuce and collard plants are done for the season? So, you'll know right away. So, they start to do what's called bolting, and they get like real tall and they start to grow up tall and then they start putting off little like flowers essentially. Once you see that, I mean, they're just going to seed. It's their cue that they're done growing and producing, and they're just trying to give more seeds so that way they can have life next. So, yeah, once they start growing up real tall and vertical, and then they start flowering, that's when you know. And it won't taste good after it does that. So, try to harvest it before it does that. If you have, if it's already done, I mean, you can leave it for pollinators. Pollinators love it. Or if you have a compost bin, pop it in there. That'll be perfect for it too. So Donna says, since containers dry out quicker, should you water more often? Yes, I would definitely recommend making sure that you are keeping your containers and everything moist. A good rule of finger is to stick your finger in the soil down to the knuckle. And if it is moist at all, then you're good. If it is dry, water. I mean, essentially, that's what I live by. Um, and I mean, pretty much if you felt one area, like, all the others. But um, okay. So yeah, I guess we haven't really talked a lot about water, but you definitely need to make sure that you are watering and keeping your plants really good through this upcoming heat that's coming in. And like I said, I mean, just make sure that if you don't have an automatic, because it looks like several of you were saying that you guys had automatic waterers and irrigation systems. That's awesome. Um, we have like a couple of our beds that have like this system on it, but it's definitely, I mean, we can only run like two of them at a time. And yeah, so we generally will come in and either do hand watering or we'll do a sprinkler. I know I always preach against that, but if you are doing that like in the morning time and it's allowing it to dry before it hits nighttime, then it's typically fine. Typically, the risk is like powdery mildew, and that's whenever like your plant's foliage is like wet overnight. So you want to reduce risk of that. But yeah, like CJ was saying, my zinnias are full of powdery mildew. Yeah, so that's the cause of it, is they are wet overnight generally. Also being like real close together keeps them from drying really good. So if they're like closer together, airflow is low. Generally, if you're anything like me, I put my zinnias like as close together as I can because they're so pretty and I want them all. But that is why zinnias typically are prone to it, because we tend to plant them closer together. And if they get wet at all, like later in the evening, this just will happen, unfortunately. But there is an easy solution though for powdery mildew. You can just go through. I make a mixture of just milk and water. Um, I don't remember the ratio. That's something I feel like I asked Growbot this last week, but I never remember. So let's come back down here to Growbot. What is the mixture for powdery mildew? Well, let's say format with milk and water. Okay, 1 part milk and 9 parts water. So spray this mixture onto affected plants every 7 to 10 days, ensuring to cover all surface areas of the leaves. There we go. Yep. So that's generally what I do whenever I start to see any sort of issue with powdery mildew or anything like that, is I just make that spray. And I've done that before in the past for like things like zucchini plants that have gotten it, or zinnias, because zinnias are just one that always seem to happen too. Great Martin was asking, are all varieties of marigolds effective as companion plants? I planted those big-headed ones, but not sure if they are as effective as French marigold. Um, Technically, it is like generally it's just the French marigold that is known to be the best uh, companion plant. Um, let's see what Grobot said. Will all as companion plants? Because I think like the technical answer will be yeah. So the effectiveness, it's not as effective, but they will still work. So that's kind of how I always treat it as well for me, because I love growing the like just like you said, like the ones with the huge blooms. I love them. Like I have the Whopper marigolds that are literally like the size of my palm of my hand. I love them. And I mean, they do seem to work really well for me. So I think it's just they aren't as effective, like known to be like as effective scientifically. I mean, they work for me, so I do it. Let's see. Sorry, I'm making sure I'm catching up on questions here. I do have suggestions here. Yeah, because we actually had this issue. I don't know what got into our garden, but something like demolished, like just topped one of our zucchini plants. But we are like, I have a motion activated sprinkler in my front garden because it works amazing. And I don't have a fence out there. So I keep a motion activated sprinkler going like at all times, pretty much if I have things that I care about out there. And it works really well. So it works for things like squirrels. I've never seen a squirrel in that garden, but we have hundreds. Like, that's not an exaggeration. Like, we have hundreds of squirrels around here. I see them like every time I step outside, but I've never seen one in that garden. And I think it's because of that motion activated sprinkler. It really just helps against all sort of little small animals and even deer too. But the thing is too, you do need to either like move it around or something along those lines, because like especially some of the smarter animals might figure it out. but still, like a lot of them just don't like getting wet too. So um, I have a motion activated sprinkler and love it. I highly recommend it. Let's see. Jackie was saying I tried that milk and water for powdery mildew last year and it burned them. Interesting. I've never had that issue, and I've used it for a while. And I would think that pumpkin and squash would be similar. I've used it on squash. Um, it's possible. Maybe the ratios were wrong, but maybe like, did you spray it in like the heat of the day? Maybe try spraying it whenever it was cooler. I don't know. That's interesting. I've never heard that, and I wouldn't have thought that that would have happened. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe someone else has some suggestions there. Okay. So let's talk briefly about fertilizing. I know we touched on it since you guys had a lot of questions about it in the beginning, but I will continue doing fertilizing for like my heavier feeders as long as the temperatures aren't like too extremely over the top out of normal for here. But as long as things are relatively normal, I mean, I will still fertilize whenever it's hot out. Um, but if we are going through like a week of a huge heat wave or something like that, where I know in like a week it should hopefully be better, I will wait. So it's just kind of like a feel it out, like with the temperatures. But generally, as long as the temperatures are just like normal for your area or they've just gradually gone up, like it's going to be okay to go ahead and do fertilizing, especially things like espoma, tomato tone, and things like that for your heavier feeders, like the peppers and tomatoes and eggplant and all of those ones. So let's see. I see a couple different questions about this. So, should I pull all peppers and flowers from my pepper plants if they're about 1 foot and not bushy? This is a personal preference here. Either or, honestly, some people will live and die by yes, absolutely. Take them all off, top that pepper plant, and don't let it give you any peppers or flowers until they reach, like where you want. Like it's definitely a personal preference. And some people are just like, let them be and they'll just grow wild. So, um, I'm generally more along the middle of them. I typically don't top my peppers and I don't like now if they are like about this big, I will pull like the peppers and flowers. But once they start to grow, I'm like, just let them be. I try to take more of a hands off approach on things like this. Um, so yeah, but either way, it's kind of like those do it or not. Like, I mean, there's really no right or wrong answers. So, um, yeah. Oh, good question. So, yes, it will definitely be available. So, this posts back up to YouTube after the fact. So, if you can come through and rewatch it again, and leave a comment in there too, and you'll be entered into the win the giveaway again for the after the fact giveaway. Yes, I feel you. It is definitely one of those things you definitely need to keep control of the weeds. Yeah, so they're making their way into your vegetable garden. Okay, so here's a few things that you can try. Some things that we do is I do like cardboard. You can lay down cardboard around your vegetable garden and mulch. And then that should hopefully like smother out the weeds that are around your garden. Um, a few other things that you can do. I know my husband loves this method. He takes the flamethrower and goes through around the garden beds and gets all the weeds, especially for like the stickers and things like that. Oh, those are the worst. Um, but yeah, those are two fun suggestions there. Maybe other people will have some good suggestions for you as well too. Kevin's asking, is it okay to add compost if the weather is in a heat wave? I mean, yeah, because it's not like essentially fertilizer. I think it's fine. It's not gonna be that bad. And it's not gonna be like an immediate acting too. And typically, like when I say fertilizing, like to hold off on fertilizing, it's typically more like the stronger, like liquid fertilizers, the things that are going to be going like right at that time and hitting the plant immediately. Even things like a spoma, like those are more just like slower acting. Like I just keep up with it every couple weeks because like it's always going to be working for me. Um, so things like compost, I mean, you should be fine to do that. Okay, and Chris was asking too, do all vegetables need fertilizers? Not necessarily. So, and I know this is a great answer, but it is variable on what you're growing. So, whenever you come into the Seed to Spoon app here, you can go into any one of these growing guides and down under here, under the care details, it'll tell you a little bit more about when to fertilize. So things like this, like it says, all purpose fertilizer at planting and after sprouting. So, and then sometimes, so things like tomatoes, it will tell you use a tomato fertilizer every 2 weeks, starting 2 weeks after transplant. So, I mean, it's really going to be variable based on what you're growing. And some things will say, like, no, you don't need to. So, again, it's like, it's really going to be variable based on what it is that you're growing. And yeah, yes. Great call out. Thank you. Perfect. I meant to mention this during the watering section too. So if you haven't already, make sure that you are mulching all of your plants because this will really help get it through the heat because it will help two things. It will help to remain or retain the moisture throughout the soil. So you won't have to water quite as much, especially in containers and things like that. That's super helpful. But also, it will help to regulate the temperature. So if it gets really hot, it'll help keep the soil cool. And it does the opposite too. So if it's like really cold out, it helps to keep the soil warmer. So it's just a really good thing to have in place, like at all of the year long. So yes, thank you for the call out. Always do mulch. It's perfect. Um, Oh, good question. Jackie was asking, how do we know if we've won the after video comments? So I announced those winners in the very beginning of the live stream. So um, at the very beginning of this one, I popped up a winner from the after the comments from last week. So if you go back and watch the beginning ones, you'll see the winners announced there. So the Casey was asking, what are your thoughts on shade covers in this heat wave? Yeah, I'm absolutely for them. Like if your plants need some protection, like if you are getting unusually warm heat, I would absolutely try to do, if you don't have like living shade walls, I try to do a lot of living shade walls myself, like strategically putting something behind like a wall of beans or something along those lines and it works really well. But I understand that not everybody has that, and I wish I had. Like I do have that picture. It was behind here, but you can kind of see in the background the picture that I used here is of shade cloth being used and a bunch of smart pots like behind it. So it's kind of blocking there the afternoon sun. So it's giving me a little bit of shade there from those plants, like a little bit of a break. And yeah, just kind of protecting them a little bit more. Um, let's see. I see a lot of good questions here. So I never knew about mulching any particular brand or kind. So I typically mulch with like wood chips, you can do wood chips, you can do straw, you can do pine shavings, you can do, I mean, cardboard. People do cardboard even. I mean, um, the sky's the limit. Some people take fallen leaves and put that at the base of the plant too. So there's a lot of great options, great like organic options that you can do. As you can kind of see in the background of these pictures, I have a lot of like in my pathways, I have a lot of like the cardboard with the mulch on top of it. So I just take some of the mulch and I pop that into the plants whenever I'm planting and all that. Hey, this is a creative solution in a pinch right here. So if you don't have shade cloth, go bring an umbrella out. I love it. As long as it's not windy, it won't blow away. I mean, I don't see why not. Like if you need to give them a little bit of a break. I love it. And Josh was asking, how do you keep your dog from eating your plants? We actually have a fence around our garden for that reason. And yeah, we keep them out of the garden. They don't necessarily like eat the garden, but or the plants. They just don't respect the plants. Like they don't realize that they can't walk where there's just plants. They just will lay down on a plant, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's what we deal with. But yeah, we have a what's called a Premier One fence that goes like all the way around our garden bed. So it's like it's one that we can like pick up and move around if we want to, also and adjust it. And yeah, it works perfect. Um, this is a good call out from Jackie too about mulch. So thank you for that. Yeah. So don't use like those fake ones or like the dyed ones. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, I think we are. I'm always running out of room or running out of time here. Um, really quick. So in July, like keeping up with your plants and pruning them and all of that is going to be important too. Because you don't necessarily want all your plants to go to seed, especially things like basil. Like you'll want to keep pinching off the flowers on the top. I do this clear through. I mean, I usually try to let them go to flower towards the end of the season, just so I can help the pollinators out because they love those flowers. There's just something about herb flowers they just love. But as of right now, I still want it to produce and keep going for me. So I don't want it signaling it's done and ready to go to seed. So I'll keep coming in here and pinching off the tops of my basil. Um, Same with tomatoes. Now, everybody always asks too with tomatoes, like, what's the best way to do it? And what's the right way? What's the wrong way? And again, it's one of those things that's like, there is no right or wrong. I mean, you can let your tomato just grow wild. You can prune so I have the arrow down there pointing towards what's called the sucker. You can prune those suckers off and leave it to where you have just the main branch and the stem growing right there. Um, or you can also pull off this stem right here too and keep the sucker and this one growing too. So those ones will both produce fruit right there. Yeah, this way you will get like more plants or more plants, more tomatoes, but typically they will be smaller. If you take the suckers off, typically you will get less tomatoes, but the tomatoes will be a lot larger. So I generally prune mine in the middle. I don't go through and pull everything off all the time. It's all whatever you want. And if it's like a cherry tomato, I'm like, sure, I'll leave the suckers on here because I don't mind if they're small, of course, because they're cherry tomatoes. But if I'm growing like the Whopper tomatoes, I'm like, yeah, I'll go through and pull off a few suckers. But I'm not like going in and doing every single one. And like I said, I'm typically more hands off, more hands off. Yes, just like what Jackie said, it's completely a personal preference of what you want, and also kind of a learning thing of just learning what does best in your environment too. And sometimes what works best for me doesn't work best for you in your area, doesn't work best for someone else. Like it's just, yeah, it's completely unique. Okay. Well, we packed a lot into that hour. I know. But if you guys have any other questions, please pop them into the chat. I'm going to run the giveaway here real quick. But we are always here and always answering questions too. So if you guys do have questions after the fact, even like feel free to pop in and leave them as a comment after the fact too. Or you can always go in and ask Growbot too, just like I did. I mean, I go through and ask Growbot. I mean, you saw me. I asked it several times, different things. Let's see. Hold on. I'm running the giveaway. So we are going to be doing the giveaway. It's going to be for a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So with that, you get unlimited questions that you can ask Growbot, along with pictures and images and all of that you can send up to Growbot. And then you can do a bunch of all unlimited gardens and plants and all of that throughout the visual garden layout. And also free shipping on all your orders through Park Seed. Okay, I have a winner drawn over here. It ran. Let me copy and paste the winner in. So congratulations to Chris Bowen Photos. Congratulations. So send me an email at info@seedtospoon.net and I will get you all hooked up with your free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So congratulations, Chris. And like I said too, if you all didn't win and you want to be entered in to win, please go in after this post, go into this video again, leave a comment. That way you'll be entered in to win the after the fact. And I will be back again next week, same time, same place. So I look forward to talking with y'all again soon. Thank you all so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye, everybody.